business affected by protest in Leh City. HIV cases rising in East New Britain. And Maurice Opeti wins Vocal Fusion Battle of 2 Seasons.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening and thank you for joining us. This is Monday's news. Well, businesses in Leh were forced to close this morning following a protest by youths from Morabit. The protest started as early as 7:30 this morning along the Butubam Road going towards Chinatown before heading to Leh's top town, Eriku and Main Market. Vehicles were stoned and police fired warning shots in Chinatown and town to disperse crowds of opportunists. The protesters demanded the provincial government to crack down on street vendors who are being named as major contributors to the rise in petty crimes in Leh City.
At Eriku, all the shops were closed. The bus stops were empty. They all fled in fear of the protesters. At 7th Street, up to 300 protesters carrying the Morobe flag and placards assembled, but they were stopped by armed police. The crowd gathered at 7:30 along the Butibam Road and marched towards 7th Street. The protest follows the attack on the guards on Friday the 30th, where street vendors armed with bush knives attacked several guards. The guards are employed by the Leh City Authority. Schools in the city were closed and students were asked to go home. Commuters were forced to walk while workers were also asked to return home. Various groups are moving in different locations in the city, making it difficult for police. At Chinatown and Eriku, police opened fire to disperse the crowd. Their call follows the attack on the Leh City security guards recently, where street vendors armed with bush knives attacked several guards. The guards were placed by the Leh City Authority at various locations of the city. Chairman of the Morobe Provincial Business Arm, Chris Gaya, has also made a call to the provincial government to crack down on street vending activities in the city. Mata Lewis, National EMTV News, Leh.
And just before midday, Morabian leaders met with protesters, urging them to furnish a formal list of demands to the provincial government. Deputy Governor Judas Nalau and Leh's new Metropolitan Commander, Anthony Wagambi Jr., addressed various groups at different locations in efforts to diffuse the tension. MTV's Bethany Harriman reports from Leh.
Houses along the Sandpiper Road bore the brunt of the crowd's frustration. Lights were smashed, garbage bins emptied on the road, vehicle windows destroyed. Police managed to bring one crowd under control. They were diverted to Bumbu Settlement and Butibam. Another crowd gathered near the Huonville Primary, blocking off access for vehicles. The same message delivered, that the provincial government come down hard on street vendors and their suppliers.
Custom points must got checkpoint. Whether you got good blood permission, good blood right, but you travel through Lomorobe. No got, no got.
Police maintained order until the Deputy Governor Judas Nalau arrived to speak to the protesters. Authorities have been careful not to allow protests to escalate into a repeat of the 2011 protests. While Nalau addressed this crowd, another was gathering at Eriku. Again, police had managed to get more than 200 people away from the main shopping area. Tensions diffused at 7th Street. The delegation then moved to Eriku.
Sample study was also about Langap. Sample study was current road. And no way you put it back, point look about best clear. You come to good logo about working good, huh? You know the way long gonna broken something about the harassment, man.
The crowd has given a 14-day ultimatum to the Morobe provincial government to meet their demands in a petition. The petition covers the removal of street vendors in Leh's public areas, Town, Market and Eriku. Now, there has been an emergency provincial executive council meeting called for tomorrow to discuss what needs to be done to meet the demands. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Leh.
And Leh police have confirmed that 5 people were injured today in separate incidents related to the protests. 2 are in critical condition at the Angao Hospital. Late this afternoon, in a joint press conference, Morobe Governor Kelly Naru, Leh MP Lojaya Koza and Leh's Metropolitan Commander Anthony Wagambi Jr. reassured the public that tensions have been diffused and possible violence contained. Kelly Naru has invited members of the public to assemble at the stadium tomorrow to air their concerns to the provincial government's representatives.
We have dispatched groups that were involved in the protest today to peacefully go back to their own settlements and communities. And tomorrow we are going to congregate again at the stadium at 10 o'clock in the morning to listen to the group leaders, especially the councillors and the law and order chairmen from the respective communities in the wards and settlements in terms of what their grievances are.
I would like to assure all the residents of Leh City that police manpower will be on full strength, and we are on alert now and to encounter any problems which may arise.
And in a separate incident, several houses were razed at Leh's Banana Block. It's understood that opportunists took advantage of the protest march and torched the houses. Banana Block is a growing settlement opposite the Bumbu River on the edge of Kaswari Road. The houses burnt down were makeshift shelters used by settlers. The houses were burnt around 2 p.m. this afternoon after a protest march was contained by police. A clash erupted on Kaswari Road before the houses were burnt. Well, new statistics gathered by VCT sites in Eastern New Britain province have indicated an alarming increase in HIV infections. The figures of the epidemic have doubled in the past 4 years. The Provincial AIDS Council and Red Cross revealed the increase is spurred by a combination of economic and social factors such as prostitution.
Rosiana Kunai-Teko is a member of East New Britain Provincial AIDS Council who engages in community-based HIV awareness in the province. She visited communities to conduct awareness and remind people about the dangers of the epidemic. Her frequent visits to the villages and communities are spurred on by the increasing number of people infected in the province every year. Statistics gathered through voluntary testing sites in the province indicate a steady increase of the epidemic in the last 10 years.
Thousands and thousands only been come one time. Now me talking you, Lord about hotel, me plan make him tupla line.
A recent report of confirmed HIV cases in the 4th district of East New Britain puts Kokopo district at 137 new cases, followed by Gazelle at 77, Rabaul with 57 and Pomio with 12 cases since 2013. But that's only for those people going for voluntary testing. Many more who are reluctant to go for testing remained unaccounted for, and those figures are expected to increase in the next few years. Over the years, both government and non-government health agencies have repeatedly reminded us about the dangers of HIV, and those information can be recited from memory. While HIV/AIDS awareness may not be appealing to the people here, its impacts are expected to be severe. The Provincial AIDS Council also fears that in the next few years, PNG's productive age group, who are between the ages of 15 and 29, might be greatly affected by HIV. East New Britain is going through a rapid change, both socially and economically. Businesses are poised to expand, living standards will improve, and people with limited means of earning an income will be exposed to unsafe sexual behavior. The Provincial AIDS Council says HIV awareness must be maintained to educate people who take HIV/AIDS epidemic for granted. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Well, Maurice Opeti is the official king of vocal fusion after winning the Battle of Two Seasons last night. The Bougainvillean vocalist won 100,000 kina after winning 50,000 kina in Season 2 at the beginning of this year. Morris got the most online votes to edge out the 3 other finalists.
The winner for MTV's Vocal Fusion Battle of 2 Seasons Grand Final, going home with a whopping 100,000 kina. Go crazy Arab, Morris Opeti!
This announcement goes to prove what the judges were saying all year.
Morris, I love you. I love you. And I'm going to tell you why I love you. Because you're authentic.
You know.
I think I need spiritual healing.
It's the combination of killer vocals and a down-to-earth personality that appeals to a lot of viewers, and it showed in the voting margins in the online voting.
Feeling for you. Let them say we're crazy. What do they know? Put your hands up mine, baby, don't ever look back. Let them hold around us, just fall apart. Baby, we can make it if we have to. And we can build the stream together.
Morris and the 3 other finalists, Jeremiah Prout, Nimrod Nadile and Stephen Ilave, all performed 2 songs each last night as their final performances to a packed venue at the Cosmopolitan. Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
Well, congratulations to Morris Opeti and of course the other finalists as well. Well, you're watching National MTV News tonight. Suspended Land Secretary charged and the challenges of counselling inmates. That's still ahead in the bulletin. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Suspended Land Secretary Romili Kilapat was arrested and charged today. Baroko Police confirmed that he was arrested and charged following an internal audit within the Lands Department. Several arrests will be made on other officers within the Lands Department in the coming days.
Suspended Secretary for Lands Romili Kilapat was formally arrested and charged for 1 count of misappropriation and 1 count of conspiracy for accessing the Lands Reform Trust account. Mr. Kilapat was found to have conspired with 2 other officers within the Lands Department to defraud the state of over 208,000 kina. The money was from the Land Reform Trust account and the check raised was paid to Bola Auto Parts. His arrest and charge follows an internal audit within the Lands Department. The audit found that he committed the act while suspended as the Lands Secretary. Acting Lands Secretary Luther Sipisong is aware of the arrest and charging of the former secretary. Sipisong says it is public funds under the trust account and should have been used for the intended purposes of land reform. The Lands Department has been plagued with numerous cases of corruption. 2 other officers involved will also be brought in for questioning in the coming days. Mr. Kilapat is expected to appear before the Waigani Committal Court to answer for the charges. Mickey Cavera, National MTV News.
Well, Madang police prevented another major robbery from happening this morning when they were alerted by the members of the public. As of last week, the public has shown signs of assisting and cooperating with police.
The Madang police were alerted by members of the public around the Modilon Papindo supermarket this morning, resulting in the prevention of what's likely to be another major robbery.
Our CID officers got a call. They proceeded straight to Papindo and they caught these 5 suspects and bring them to the police station.
Police investigations show that the suspects are likely to be connected to the other major robberies this year.
You'll be questioned for foreign robbery and murder of the Asian. The other one is wanted for questioning over Martin Seng robbery, so he will be charged this afternoon for robbery as well. So they are known people. So finally we caught up with them this morning, and what happened is that we prevented what could have been a major robbery this morning.
Last week, the Madang police caught up with pirate suspects, and again it was because the public assisted and supplied helpful information.
Thanks to the public who have supplied information to the police, and police acted upon that information and caught up with the criminals. So that's the kind of cooperation that we want. Public should continue to support police so that we could act and prevent some of the major incidents like robberies, especially robberies.
Madang has been in the spotlight because of its crime rate, especially the major robberies. The blame game may be on, but the police clearly needs public support the same way the public needs police support. Rachel Shise, National EMTV News, Madang.
Well, it was an unusual Monday morning for hundreds of employees of Telecom PNG as they gathered outside the company's Telecom Romana head office in Port Moresby. They were led by Communication Workers Union, who demanded that the management stop the spill and fill restructure process, labelling it illegal. In response, Telecom Chief Executive Officer Michael Donnelly said that Telecom was not acting illegally.
As early as 8 o'clock this morning, employees of Telecom PNG, led by the Communications Workers Union, held a sitting protest in front of the office in order to convince management to do away with the spill and fill. A spill and fill is a restructuring process whereby positions in a workplace are made redundant and the employees filling those positions must reapply for the reduced number of created positions. According to the national president of the PNG Communications Workers Union, Nug Mamtirin, the company will lose many skilled and technical workers through this process.
The spill and fill is affecting top bracket all the way from the top executive all the way to the sleeper.
The union demanded for the immediate withdrawal of the spill and fill and current retrenchment notices.
With no respect, nothing whatsoever, they have gone ahead and reduced the spill and fill. The union position is this: you just cannot do it because it's inconsistent, irrelevant to labor laws of Papua New Guinea. The EPA is...
Telecom PNG CEO Michael Donnelly personally received the petition that contained the demands of the union. He then addressed the union and staff accordingly.
The first thing is, Telecom is not acting illegally. The purpose of a spill and fill is to ensure that the people passed after the restructuring are the people capable of taking this business into the 21st century. So the process that we've been through, which has been transparent, it has been communicated to everybody.
The petition also demanded an immediate halt on eviction notices to staff occupying institutional houses. Mr. Donnelly said there will be no reversing of the notices because those who have been asked to vacate are beneficiaries of the home ownership scheme to buy their own houses.
And by remaining in the institutional housing, they're denying other staff members who have a right, a merit-based right, to use those facilities. So that will not be negotiated and those eviction notices will remain.
The union has given 24 hours to the management to cease these exercises while its substantive matters are still before the court. However, Mr. Donnelly made it clear the management will not stop unless the courts tell them to do so.
Contrary to the union's petition, we are acting within the law and within the court judgments that have been around these issues. Firstly. Secondly, the change is necessary as we, because of the global communications industry is changing very radically and fast. So the changes that we're implementing here are no different to the changes that you'd be making in other jurisdictions. And thirdly, we respect the union's right to protest and stand up for their members, but our process is merit-based, it's transparent, and it's been communicated to all. So there's nothing that people haven't heard in the past that we're doing. So we're not sneaking up on people, we're not adding additional things. Everything we're doing has been communicated openly and freely to all staff.
Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
Providing counselling services to clients is an ongoing challenge for community-based correction officers in the country. Elizabeth Passingan, a senior provincial probation officer in West New Britain Province, raised this concern today in the CBC's annual Combined Planning Workshop here in Port Moresby.
The community-based correction office comprises probation, parole and juvenile justice services. The office provides correctional services to people who are out of prison on parole or probation. Mrs. Passingan, a probation officer with 30 years experience, said prisoners who are on probation or parole do not accept counseling and advice. On the other hand, officers also need more specific training on how to give counseling to prisoners.
Na mipla like stereotype na give him talk long all na plo accept him all advice na. Some of the time only se fight inside lo office na. Mipla must stop him all. Some challenges mipla go through long and time. Mipla sa look out him all is la all kind line.
Another difficulty they face is tracking down parolees and probationers who do not comply with the court orders.
Online only se work him is la all trouble. You only se stop close to. O se stop long way na. Mipla must be any golo up only se stop long way.
The community-based correction office began the annual workshop today to plan their activities for next year. This year's theme is Change, Challenge and Opportunity. They will highlight their achievements and challenges and develop effective resolutions to addressing them. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
The design of the rebranded airline, PNG Air, is already attracting the travelling public. Following the launching last Wednesday, the new ATR aircraft has been conducting test flights to selected sectors around the country where this design has been seen. EMTV's Fabian Hakelitz has more.
Thank you, Dokona. Yes, on this fourth day, the PNG Air aircraft ATR 7600 made a maiden flight to Kakamuga Airport in Mount Hagen, Western Highlands Province, and was given a rousing welcome with a washdown and also a traditional Singsi group in the Western Highlands way.
PNG Air's test flights to selected airports have caught many by surprise with its new aircraft ATR 72600 and new logo design at its tail. From interviews conducted in several ports, it's PNG oriented with the design elements.
Isa lo mipla looking at touchdown the ground. Mipla got big plan my straight lo witnessing this na partake one time this occasion come up here.
It's a big new impact with PNG as a whole. It's PNG Air. It's all covered with PNG people.
In Mount Hagen, Chief Commercial Officer Paul Abbott had to explain the design elements, saying it represents PNG in a new way and stressed the PNG Air connection with Papua New Guinea.
Because for us, while the tradition is very strong, as it is in Papua New Guinea, the future is also a very powerful motivator too, a very powerful tool. And we wanted to show Papua New Guinea that it was possible to have the past, take the best of the past, but also move forward and be positive about the future.
The aircraft also made her maiden flight to Wewak, welcomed by different traditional dancing groups, the most outstanding Puk Puk dance.
I will talk of I come down now and it's already a few minutes or so now. Warm up late na biyan come down na come walk in this last show na to kamamas.
Our final destination is here at Boram Airport in Wewak, East Sepik Province. It now completes day 4 of the first week of the test flight to other provinces. In Wewak, Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
A rebranded airline company PNG Air will continue to provide affordable prices to the travelling public. Chief Commercial Officer Paul Abbott told our journalist Fabian Hakelitz in an interview that price positioning will be constant.
The airline industry's growth in Papua New Guinea has created competition in the market for airliners operating within the country. This was the comment from one villager of East Sepik Province who said while the competition gets tough, airfare needs to decrease as well to allow locals to travel around the country.
Na suppose this like come up na mipla lagi mo sem right price plong o sem only can mark him
how long or distance or balusi fly or some we work to Madang by kind of them. Can have a legal price number now to legal people like route that's all money that's all working now plus away. Stop all same.
In response, Chief Commercial Officer Paul Abbott said inclusion of the new ATR 72-600 aircraft into the PNG Air fleet will not change airfare cost. The company's vision is to provide service to the people of this nation at affordable cost.
For us, our price position has always been very constant. We like to provide low-cost fares to get as many people travelling as possible. Just the fact that we have new aircraft is not going to change that, so we'll continue to provide that.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
And now let's take a look at the finance news. The Kina closed unchanged at $0.3395 in the interbank market today. And at Bank South Pacific, our Kina was trading at $0.3320 $0.4688 Australian dollars, $0.3059 euro, and 40.61 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and copper closed the day lower, while coffee and cocoa closed the day higher. Crude oil closed higher as well, while palm oil and copper closed the day lower. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 47 points higher, the ASX closed at 11 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 10 points higher as well. You're watching Monday's News Tonight. A story on opera in a Moresby school and awareness focus shifting to men's cancers. Stay with us for those stories. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Well, opera performances are not common in PNG. One school in the nation's capital decided to introduce the theatrics of opera to its students with a special Christmas concert. Apart from student performances, there were special performances by professional opera singers from abroad.
It was the 5th annual Hamamas Christmas concert at the Caritas Technical Secondary School. Musical songs were performed by students, faculty members, and visiting friends from South Korea. The special performance of the night was by the professional opera singers from South Korea. The professionals were in the school to promote awareness and appreciation of classical music. They kept the audience captivated as they sang the complicated musical pieces. Invited guests included the Prime Minister's wife, Linda Babao O'Neill, and South Korean Ambassador, His Excellency Kim Song-chun. Family and friends also attended in numbers. The proud band coordinator, Buruka Tao, said students had only 6 weeks to rehearse. The talented school band, composed of instruments ranging from woodwinds to brass, and they backed up the choir for an outstanding performance. Sister Florentine, the school directress, said the concert was a good opportunity to expose students to classical music and build their musical knowledge. She said the concert would have not been possible without the assistance from parents and sponsors.
Here we have got annual event of this Hamamas Christmas concert in our Caritas school. So, next time when we invite you, please, you come along and enjoy yourself.
Marilyn Diaukatam, National EMTV News.
Well, almost 200 people, both men and women, attended today's Men's Cancer Awareness Workshop at the Grand Papua Hotel, Port Moresby. The workshop was hosted by Professor Ian Olver, cancer researcher, bioethicist and medical oncologist. Professor Olver is also a member of the Advisory Council for Cancer Australia.
The turnout at today's Men's Cancer Awareness Workshop was an encouraging sight for CEO of PNG Cancer Foundation, Daddy Toka Jr. Individuals, both male and female, as well as organizations such as BSP, Deloitte and DHL participated actively in the workshop.
Having the participation from, people starting at that corporate level all the way down to, there's waiters and waitresses sitting at the back. That I did not anticipate because we're at the Grand Papal, but it's wonderful to see the interest and people are hungry for that information.
Also present to officiate the workshop was Governor for NCD Powers Pakop. Pakop strongly attributed the increase in cancer development in Papua New Guineans to unhealthy lifestyle practices such as lack of exercise and boy consumption in particular.
Here in the city, as governor of our capital city, I can attest to the fact that there is an increasing high level of lifestyle disease in our city. And not just increasing that health problem, but also death arising out of lifestyle disease.
Professor Olver encouraged group discussions and audience participation throughout the informative session. The main focus of his workshop was to bring home the message that 1 out of 3 cancer cases were curable by improving lifestyle practices.
Because some of these cancers are preventable by lifestyle changes, that's the message we've got to get out now that it's recognised as a major problem in your country.
Mr. Toka said that the PNG Cancer Foundation was focusing the entire month of November on the education of men's cancer awareness throughout Papua New Guinea. Melissa Goviro, National EMTV News.
To regional news now. Australia is being forced to seek new countries to take its refugees after the Philippines rejected to accept them. Australia's controversial policy of offshore refugee detention took another blow last week when President Benigno Aquino rejected Australia's proposal to permanently resettle refugees in the Philippines. President Aquino said he was seriously considering an Australian government's proposal to accept some refugees, but only if they were in the Southeast Asian nation temporarily. The deal is valued at 150 million Australian dollars over a span of 5 years. He said his country did not have the capacity or the resources to accommodate refugees as it aims to deal with its own internal issues. However, Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop, who was in Port Moresby on Friday, said negotiations were still ongoing despite President Aquino's refusal.
We want to see the resettlements take place. Already there have been a number of people who have volunteered to go back home, and I expect that this will be the case. The message to the people smuggling trade is that people who pay people smugglers will not be resettled in Australia.
Canberra had approached Manila after a series of scandals involving allegations of rape, physical abuse and mental cruelty against detainees held on Nauru and Manus Island in Papua New Guinea. A High Court decision in 2011 means that, under current laws, Australia can only legally make deals for the processing and resettlement of refugees with countries that signed the UN's 1951 Refugee Convention. In the Southeast Asian region, that does not leave many options. Only Cambodia, East Timor and the Philippines are all signatory countries. In the Pacific region, the small islands of Fiji, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Tuvalu and the Solomon Islands are all signatories. Well, we'll have Trukai Sports. That's coming up next, and the sport of surfing attracting international competition. Stay tuned for that story and more in Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports.
Thanks for joining me with Trukai Sports. Well, it's been over 28 years in the making, but now Surfing Association PNG is on the verge of hosting one of the biggest events in the surfing calendar in conjunction with the World Surfing League. Tapira in the Madang province has been chosen among other potential surfing spots in PNG, such as Vanimo, Manus and Kavieng, to stage the event. EMTV Shane Saroya has this report.
World Surfing League representative Steve Robertson was in the country to scout potential surfing spots to host an international surfing tournament next year. Madang has been selected as the ideal location to stage the tournament because of its surf consistency throughout the year, the security on the ground, and the logistics and other necessities that an international tournament will require.
We've matured to a point now where we're ready to invite the world into Papua New Guinea. We've developed our policies, our model, our foundation, and we believe now we're well established and we are in a position to accommodate the world touring circuit to come and experience our waves, our culture, our people.
Roberts also highlighted that the international surfing tournament will bring with it a lot of spin-off benefits to the local community and the country as a whole.
Our intentions are to run a world-class sporting event up there next year.
PNG has over 144 registered members in the country and will expect to see more when the competition kicks into reality. This kind of tournament will be new in the country. The PNG president said the aim of the organization is to promote the popularity of the code, not only as a tourist sport but also to promote our local culture and traditions. According to Robertson, it may be possible to run a women's professional event in the region. This could attract professional surfers like the women's champion Stephanie Gilmore and many others who are huge athletes on the world stage. If PNG is successful in hosting this international tournament, it will draw the attention of the World Surfing League body, along with surfers from around the world, and could be a window of opportunity for Papua New Guinea to see an influx of world-class surfers and tournaments to be staged here in Papua New Guinea. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Well, Papua New Guinea Triathlon will be hosting another Ironman Tri-Kids development program on Nusa Island, just outside Kavieng town, on the 22nd of this month. The development program is expected to produce top junior athletes from the rural areas of New Island. PNG Triathlon will be running the program, Solwara School and School Swim Squad for beginners, intermediate and advanced boys and girls. The Papua New Guinea squad for the 2016 OFC Under-17 Women's Championship in the Cook Islands ended their two-week training camp last Friday. With women's football developments on the rise in Papua New Guinea, the PNG Football Association has benefited most from these programs to select a team that may be a threat to others.
Youth development has come under the spotlight across the country in recent years, with development centres and centres of excellence established across PNG FA member associations and playing a strong supporting role in the player selection. The majority of the squad is made up of the 2014 Summer Youth Olympic Games team who played in China last year. Under-15 striker Belinda Giada has returned to the fold along with Margaret Joseph, both of whom have been outstanding, playing a part in the senior side. Every member of the squad has been developing on the domestic scene and having seen some excellent skills emerge during the 2 weeks camp. 25 players will make it into the second camp, starting from the 23rd of November to the 19th of December, with the list yet to be formalized. Papua New Guinea has been put in Pool B for the tournament alongside Fiji, Vanuatu and host nation the Cook Islands. The top two teams from each group will progress to the semi-finals, with the eventual winner securing direct qualification to the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Jordan 2016. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
Over to cricket, BSP Hard are the inaugural Men's Gabba Champion Shield champions after thrashing ANZ Avalanches by 8 wickets in the final match at Amini Park yesterday. Hearts and Avalanches were tied on 19 points, with the final 50-over match to determine the inaugural winner of the Gabba Champion Shield. In an interesting contest, BSP Hard finished top of the ladder and were awarded the Gabba Champion Shield. Avalanches took second place and Dragons settled for third, while the Pistons finished fourth. You're with Trukai Sports tonight. We have boxing and rugby union when we come back. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Good to have you back with True Guy Sports. Well, following the Pacific Games, interest has grown in the code of boxing. A total of 23 teams have been confirmed for the National Boxing Championships in Kaveng later this month. This weekend featured the Karaku Boxing Association fundraising to raise funds to send their teams to the championships.
The Pacific Games saw Team PNG dominate in the boxing ring, bagging 8 gold medals with an outstanding performance. The 2015 Boxing National Championships is set for the 26th to the 29th of November in Kaveng, New Ireland Province. There has been a growth of interest in the code since the Pacific Games, with a total of 23 teams altogether registered for the championships. National boxing coach Joe Alpha said there are positive signs with the increased number of teams registered for the national championships. Karaku in the Central Province is known for producing some of PNG's finest fighters, such as Jonathan and Charlie Kiama. Over the weekend saw the Karaku Amateur Boxing Association host a fundraising competition in order to raise funds to see them compete in the coming championship. Teams that will be participating in the national championship according to their regions are, in the Southern Region, NCD Amateur Boxing Association, Karaku Amateur Boxing Association, Kiunga, Gulf, Milne Bay and Oro. In the Highlands Region, Jiwaka, Chimbu, Western Highlands Province, Eastern Highlands Province and Enga. Mamase will be Ley, Bulolo, Madang, Wewak and Vanimo. And from the New Guinea Islands are Manus, Namatanai, Kaveng, East New Britain, West New Britain, Bougainville and Buka. Dion Kombang, National EMTV Sports.
Recent Pacific Games gold medalist boxer in the 75kg female division, Debbie Kaure, will be travelling to New Zealand with the PNG Palais to attend their Rio qualifier matches under the guidance of coach Sydney Wesley. With high hopes for both boxing and rugby, Debbie's aim is to make it to the Rio Olympics, hoping one of these two codes will eventually find her a spot and a ticket to Brazil next year. EMTV's Godwin Eki reports.
Of months break from the Pacific Games, Kaure was selected into the Palais team after the success of her strong performances in the NPC Sevens, while most of the team members of Palais team are made up from the Spartans team in the CRU competition. In an interview, she said despite facing challenges between the two very different codes, she is still a boxer 100% and will do whatever it takes with the aim of making it to Rio for the 2016 Olympic Games. Kaure will leave Port Moresby tomorrow with the women's rugby team for New Zealand, where the country will go head-to-head with other Pacific Island nations in the qualifier matches to make it to Rio Olympics and the Women's Rugby World Qualifiers.
I'm only taking my chances. I know that I can. I'm hoping that in boxing, I know that it's going to be tough. It's not going to be an easy one. So if I miss my chances in there, then I'm just going for rugby. Yeah, just to see how it goes then.
Upon her return, Debbie will then travel to Kaveng to join her fellow Team NCD boxers to fight in the 75 heavyweight division at the National Boxing Championships. And she hopes to perform well in that arena as well. Kaure is one of the handful of athletes who have successfully managed to do well in a variety of sports, but this calls into question the ability of sporting codes to properly develop their own athletes instead of relying on the individual performances of only a majority of the country's best. Other examples of prominent sportsmen and women who have crossed codes include Kato Otio from volleyball, Bowen Bino to touch rugby, and Nelson Stone, who switched to athletics after being successful in taekwondo. Godwin Aki, National EMTV Sports.
The Duban Kalibobo Lighthouse Sevens is a go-ahead for the Madang province for this weekend. With the hype of Sevens rugby building throughout the country, the tournament is set to showcase the country's best Sevens talent. Tournament's coordinator, Jack Telecom, confirmed Madang will have 2 provincial teams taking part. Port Moresby will have the CRU rep teams attend, and the Black Orchids and Moraba Hammerheads will also feature.
Madang Rugby is geared up and ready to host the Duban Kalibobo Lighthouse Sevens tournament this weekend. The competition comes exactly 1 month after the National Provincial Championships in Port Moresby and weeks after the Amayu Sevens. With the momentum of Rugby Sevens at an all-time high, the Kalibobo Sevens event will provide the Morbe Hammerheads with an opportunity to maintain their winning streak from the NPC Sevens. Tournament coordinator Jack Telecom spoke to EMTV Sports via telephone this afternoon, confirming the tournament schedule.
24 teams that will be taking part. We're expecting 2 teams from Molby at CRU and Pom Defence, 2 teams from Kimbe.
While PNG Rugby giants AROB, Armour Coast, Port Moresby and Kimbe, to name a few, have been tipped as favourites, Telecom has also confirmed a Madang provincial team.
For Madang, we have 7 teams from Madang will be taking part. 2 teams will be the provincial team, and the other 5 are the teams that from the suburbs around Madang and the villages around Madang.
Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
Well, that wraps up our True Guy Sports segment tonight. Stay tuned. We have the weather details that's coming up after this break.
True Guy Sports.
Now let's take a quick look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In southern region, mostly fine expected across all centres. In the Mamase region, that's the same thing happening in Lake City, mostly fine weather. In the New Guinea Islands, brief showers expected in Lorengau. And lastly, in the islands, possible evening showers developing, then morning fog in Mendi and Wabeg. And now recapping our top stories for tonight. Before we go, businesses affected by protest in Lake City, also HIV cases rising in East New Britain, and Maurice Opeti wins Vocal Fusion Battle of 2 Seasons. And that's all we have for you in tonight's bulletin. On behalf of the news crew, I'm Tokana Hasavi Jr. Thanks for your company. You take care and stay happy. Good night.